Hi, welcome to The Shed. In this episode, we're going to talk about the rhythmic relationship between the bass instrument and the kick drum. Now, the kick drum is, I think, the most important, the most conversational element in the drum set for popular music. So we'll take a regular drum groove here. Normally the hi-hat staying on all the subdivisions, snares on 2 and 4. The thing that changes is the kick, and it totally shifts the groove. Now the problem with the kick is, there's a lot of attack, like we have that really punchy beginning of the sound. There's no duration, there's also no pitch. So it's difficult to link up the drums to the rest of the chords and the harmony of the song because there's no pitch and there's also no duration. There's a lot of impact though. So the way that we combine the drums with the rest of the song is with the bass instrument. Now the bass instrument has duration and it can have pitch. So this is just an upright bass patch. Playing the notes, there's less attack than with the bass drum, but I can hold a note out for a long period of time. And there's also pitch. They're in similar frequency ranges, and when you add them together, it gives more impact to the bass instrument. It also gives tone and duration to the kick. So I'm going to play through this drum loop. It has 3 attacks in the measure. We have one on 1, there's one on the and of 2, and there's one on the and of 4. Now it's pretty empty without the rest of the song. Like there is a song going on here, and I'll actually play it for you. So here's the song. But you hear how it's separated from, the song's separated from the drums right now. It's like the drums are happening here, and the song's happening here. We need something to combine it together, to like glue it together, and that's what the bass does. So the first rhythmic relationship is where the bass plays at the exact same time as the kick. So I'm going to solo these two tracks here, and now I'm going to play at the exact same time as the drums, and I'm going to play through the chord progression of the song. So I'm going to let it go one time through. You can hear that kick drum on 1, the and of 2, and the and of 4. And now I'm just going to play those bass notes in the same beats. You hear how it like really brings it together. Now since there's duration with the bass, that's another thing you can mess with. I can make my notes short. I could make them longer. I could put space in between the notes. Like I could end a note a little early. And that gives a little more impact to the next note. And this is relationship 1. In relationship 1, the bass plays at the exact same time as the kick. So you can change the duration of the note to fit the song. Like if you wanted a nice short punch, almost just like the kick has pitch, but then there's no duration, you can play a short note on the bass. If you wanted to give a little more impact to an upcoming note, you put a little bit of space in between a note that you played and you held over and the next note. You put in that space and that makes the next note have a little more impact. Or if you want everything to be smooth and connected, you can just have the notes of the bass run into each other. And those are just different things that you can do to change your song up. So that's rhythmic relationship 1. Rhythmic relationship 2 is where the bass instrument plays more than the kick. So I'm still going to play on all those beats. The most important beat that the bass and the kick has to play on is beat 1. And what that does is it sets up beat 1 for the listener, and they know that the repetition is going to start over again on beat 1. Think about your music in a dance hall. People are going to be dancing to it. If they know where beat 1 is, then they're going to not fall down, and it's just going to be a gigantic mess. So in relationship 2, the bass is going to play a little more than the kick. So now I'm going to get my drums going again. And I'm playing way more than the kick, but it works because I'm still lined up in a couple places in the measure. Gives a little more forward motion to the song. And again, you can mess with durations. I can make them all short or make them all long. But that is relationship 2. In relationship 3, the kick plays more than the bass. So I'm going to only play the bass on beat 1. I'm just going to hold it out. And then I'm going to let the kick do all the work. So what's going to happen is you're going to get the natural decay of the sound of the bass. And then that kick is going to give us more attack. So it's going to be an interesting effect. So I'm going to get that the drum groove going again. And I'm going to play in some bass. Here we go. And I'm just holding that bass note out the entire measure. I could stop it in the middle for effect. And I could change that to within my phrase. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the rest of the song on, and I'm just going to experiment with the different rhythmic relationships. I'm going to tell you kind of what's going on. So in this song, I have that drum part, I have just a keyboard part, there's a piano melody, and then there is a pedal tone. I'm just playing this one note over and over and over again throughout the whole phrase. So the chord progression is 4, 1, 6, 5. And I'm going to start with just that first rhythmic relationship where we're playing on all of the attacks. Here how it's linked up. Now I'm going to play more. I'm going to play less. Changes the vibe. I'm going to make that note stop. And you can kind of combine relationship 2 and relationship 3. Right now, the bass and the kick are linked on beat 1, but they're not linked in the rest of the measure. I'm just playing quarter notes in the bass. And that's a relationship between the kick drum and the bass instrument.